Hi, okay. I want to speak on what I've titled A Tale of Two Professors. A Tale of Two Professors. Between Professors Osunbor versus Josh Amupitan. Now, I watched the interviews on Arise television of two legal scholars, Professors Josh Amupitan and Professor Osunbor, within 2 weeks interval. It was Josh Amupitan first, the INEC chairman. He was providing justifications for why his institution, that is INEC, decided to adopt the extraordinary, or what I could call extreme measure it took regarding the African Democratic Congress party leadership when the INEC decided to derecognize the chairman, David Mark, and National Secretary Ramsey Arefushola, and then decided to get correspondence from them. So, on the strength of the Court of Appeal decision, which asked the parties in a suit instituted by the self-styled ADC factional chairman, Nafiu Balagomi, when the Court of Appeal asked them to return to the High Court for proper adjudication, but meantime, all parties to maintain status quo antebellum. So, in Professor Amupitan's curious, illogical reasoning, he and INEC interpreted this to mean a decapitation of the leadership of the ADC, cessation of all contact with it, and importantly, non-participation in their fast approaching national convention. Many faulted this bizarre decision as utterly perverse and totally beyond the contemplation of the Court of Appeal's decision. But in the interview under reference, Professor Amupitan stuck to his gun. Then 2 weeks afterwards, just a couple of days back, I watched and listened keenly as Professor Osunbor, incidentally ADC National Legal Advisor, took questions on this vexed issue, and I was mightily glad I watched that interview. From his demeanor, composure and articulation, I, as well as millions of others from some of the thousands of commentaries I've read, were left stunned at the clarity of thought, the lucidity of delivery, the simple but elegant language, and above all, the legal reasoning backing up his arguments. This was indeed a professor of law, a brilliant mind, an erudite teacher and scholar of distinction, a learned man of honor and integrity. He adumbrated the issues in questions as follows. Number one, INEC was aware via official notification it received and acknowledged all correspondences, and importantly, INEC attended and monitored the July 29th dissolution by the NEC of ADC of the old Urusulej National Working Committee, of which Nafiu Balagomi was a part of, being deputy chairman, and having duly resigned his office, which he now suddenly claims his signature on the letter to this effect was forged. Number two, that from July 29, 2025, when the David Mark-led NWC was inaugurated, which INEC was present and monitored, upon which it uploaded their names on INEC's website on September 9th. So, if Nafiu Balagomi went to court on September 2nd, and later the Court of Appeal asked all parties to return to status quo antebellum, what does this mean? Definitely, it's got to mean the state of things before the suit. The suit was instituted, which evidently was the period before or immediately prior to September 2nd, 2025. Number four, there is no justification, therefore, for the decision Josh Amupitan and INEC took. It defies logic, common sense, and justice. No way could this decision of the Court of Appeal be interpreted as before July 29. Was there any time there was no National Working Committee administering the African Democratic Congress? Number five, that the Bala Nafiu case is a leadership tussle, and every informed Nigerian knows that the Supreme Court, in various cases, and indeed the Electoral Act 2026 as amended, have stated that leadership tussle within political parties are internal issues and aren't justiciable. Number six, on whether the National Convention of the ADC held on the 14th can stand judicial scrutiny. Professor Osunbor stated that the African Democratic Congress fulfilled the statutory requirements imposed on it to give INEC 21 days prior notice, which it complied with, and that it was the commission, INEC, that was in breach of the law, which expressly provided it shall monitor such convention, having been duly notified. Number 7, that INEC and its chairman has put its credibility into serious jeopardy, and this credibility, jeopardized credibility, has become thoroughly compromised to engender confidence in Nigerians of it, that is INEC, being able to conduct free, fair, and credible election in 2027. Therefore, that Professor George Amupitan should place the destiny of over 200 million Nigerians above his narrow interest and simply resign his office promptly. Number 8, that if INEC cannot resist pressure to derecognize ADC's National Working Committee, how then can INEC resist pressure to announce a loser of an election as the winner? Number 9, that the issues at stake goes beyond mere legality, but one of morality. But, not just morality also, but the future of democracy in Nigeria. Some countries' presidents have resigned voluntarily, how much less a mere INEC chairman being asked to resign. And I recall, of course, Prime Minister Boris Johnson of the United Kingdom resigning just because, he was partying when he demanded Britons, stay indoors during COVID, but he was partying, and because of that, he was made to resign. South Korea, Brazil, they are prosecuting presidents. So the future of this country is bigger than Professor Joash Amupitan. Professor Osunbor, in my opinion, and from what I saw, spoke with the authority of a teacher, and not merely with vast legal experience and knowledge of the subject, but one eminently versed in the delicate art and mastery of sifting lies from truth. He evinced the aura, of not just a law teacher, but of a lawgiver, a dispenser of justice, not legalist, which is usually associated, with justices, of Supreme Courts, not, justice of the Supreme Court who dispense justice, very calm demeanor and all of that. Now, even when the interviewers, attempted to introduce extraneous aspects into the conversation, like biblical King Solomon, Professor Osunbor calmly chided this, reminding them even Amupitan and INEC didn't or haven't yet descended to that extent in their journey down the stinking cesspit of ignominy and infamy. So, here are two academics, but the difference in class, in brilliance, in erudition couldn't be more evident to the entire world. More critically, the gulf in integrity and honor is as that which exists between the heavens and the earth. While one struggled, stammered, and sweated, albeit in futility, to justify, a manifest legal perfidy and egregious intellectual fraud as sound reasoning, the other spoke with ease, with calmness of righteousness and truth, as his potent, arsenal. With the calmness of righteousness and truth as his potent arsenal. My biggest takeaway was when Professor Osunbor stated that if INEC was confused as to the interpretation of the Court of Appeal's declaration that all parties return to status quo ante bellum, what INEC ought to have done was to have returned to this Court of Appeal for proper explanations or interpretation, and not act in a manner which all but confirms the allegations of bias and becoming an agent of the ruling party, thereby not fit and proper to either assure nor guarantee its impartiality going forward. In conclusion, I lend my voice to implore Professor George Amupitan, resign voluntarily from your position as INEC chairman. You may perhaps still with the passage of time, redeem whatever is left of your already tattered, battered, and globally besmirched hard-earned reputation. May I remind you, those who procured you for this hatchet job are your worst enemies. The name you bear belongs to your ancestors and your future generations. Are you comfortable knowing what you bestow on this, especially your future generations? It's a legacy of infamy and reproach. And as the scriptures say, and I quote, a good name earned by honorable behavior godly wisdom, moral courage, and personal integrity is more desirable than great riches, and favor is better than silver and gold. End of quote. The Amplified Bible version. That's what I just quoted. Thank you for listening. See you next time. Bye for now.